Hello everyone, welcome to Leap Scholar. From free IELTS lectures and practice questions to mock interviews and tips and tricks, you will find everything here at IELTS Prep by Leap Scholar to ace the IELTS test. Hence, to ensure the best learning experience, make sure to subscribe our channel and hit the bell icon to get your daily dose of IELTS content.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Your full name, please,
My name is Priyal.
and how may I address you?
I'm okay with Priyal.
So, Priyal, please note that this exam is going to be recorded for purposes of checking and revaluation. What are you carrying as your identification today?
I'm carrying my passport.
May I see it, please? All right.
Thank you.
So, let's start with some questions about fashion and clothes. What kind of clothes do you usually wear?
Well, that's an interesting question because I do not like to stick to a particular style of clothes. I do like to experiment with styles. Entirely depends on my mood, occasion, and of course the weather as well.
Do you like shopping for clothes?
Yes, very much. I do enjoy shopping, but I'm not someone you'd spot in a mall very often, but once a while I do like shopping.
How often do you buy clothes online?
All right, so in this digital world, we always have our phones in our hands with hundreds of apps open. So it's very easy to skip to different shopping online apps every now and then. But I do not try to shop that often. But every once in a while, let's say once a month or twice a month, I end up shopping online as well.
Would you say that clothes are expensive in your country?
Well, I would not like to generalize the entire country. We do have a variety of clothes with a different range. So you can find a good quality material at a cheaper price and a mediocre quality at a more expensive price as well.
Okay, let's talk about celebrations now. Are you fond of celebrations?
Oh, definitely. It's amazing to have different festivals in India. And we are such a diverse country, so we have many different kinds of festivals, and it's always one of the best times around the year.
What's your favorite festival and why?
Okay, so without a doubt, it has to be Diwali. And why? Because it's at such an amazing time of the year. It's slightly cold, and the cities, the country, it's well lit around that time of the year. There's good food involved, there's really amazing clothes involved, and of course, family gatherings.
How do you feel during this period?
All right. So around the festivals, I feel elated because I meet my family, extended family, my cousins. I reunite with them after a long time, and friends, family friends. There's always too much happiness around. There's decorations, there's music, there's dance. So I do feel extremely happy around this time.
Do you like to spend a lot of money on celebrations?
Well, that's quite subjective. I personally do not because I think that happiness in celebrations comes from people and the times you spend with them, the moments you share with them. And spending money on celebrations, I don't think it's very necessary.
Okay, so Priyal, that was your part one. We move on to part two.
Sure.
You are going to be, this is your cue card and your notebook and your stationery. You will get 1 minute on the clock to prepare. Thereafter, you will have to speak for the same. Your time's up.
Okay. I was head over heels when I first moved to Bangalore. It was for my second job, and I was put up at my relative's place, which is 10 kilometers from my office. At first, I thought the distance was not that much. It just showed 10 kilometers on the maps. So it was my second day at work, and I thought that maybe I can take a cab just an hour earlier from my relative's place. And as soon as I started my trip, I realized that it's a bad traffic jam. And on the way to my office from my relative's place, it involves a very crucial point, very famous for its traffic jams, that's Silk Junction in Bangalore. So once I reached there, I realized that it's going to take more than I expected. And I ended up spending 1.5 hours in the traffic jam. At first, I thought maybe I can kill time by listening to music, talking to my mother, and maybe preparing for my follow-up calls in office. And I later realized that it's taking a little more time. So I ended up talking to my relatives as well. I explained them the situation that, okay, I left early, but Bangalore It's very famous for its traffic jams, so I'm stuck here. It's just my second day. And as time passed, it started getting on my nerves as well. The waiting, and I spoke to my manager, explained her the situation that I might be getting a little late. And I was also nervous because it was just my second day in office. And you don't want to create that kind of impression in front of your colleagues and your managers. So after just a couple of more minutes, I told my manager that I might have to take the call from the cab itself. And I ended up actually doing that. And I'm still a little stuck with that memory of mine because it was one of the first experiences after moving to a new city. And yeah, it was definitely frustrating. And it did make me a little angry too.
Okay, now we'll move on to the next part. Are traffic jams common in Indian cities?
I would say yes, definitely. Traffic jams are very common in Indian cities and mostly in big metropolitan cities like Kolkata, Chennai, Hyderabad, Bangalore, Mumbai, Delhi.
Okay. Why are cities today facing serious traffic issues?
I think there are various factors which give rise to this kind of issue in the country. First could be the overload of vehicles on the road. And with the increasing demand for better lifestyle by all the people, there are more and more cars on the road these days. The second factor could be the overuse of roads as well. We have transportation vehicles, personal vehicles, there are street vendors. And the third could be since the country is overloaded with people, I would say that there's limit to an addition for infrastructure such as roads and railways.
Can developing public transport help resolve traffic issues in cities?
While public transportation is definitely a cheaper and a less stressful way for commuting from one place to another, and if more people start to use public transportation, that would lead to less vehicles on the road. So I really believe that use of public transportation can decrease the traffic in the country.
What can be done to improve traffic conditions in cities?
Okay, I can think of some ways at this moment. First is something which we already discussed earlier, that is public transportation. And I do believe again that using public transportation can reduce traffic in the country. The second could be carpooling. While leaving home, some people tend to take different cars at the same destination. So getting in the same car from the same house can reduce traffic as well. Third could be, so at peak office hours, that is morning and evenings, that's a definite time when there's going to be traffic. So for our personal errands, maybe we could use a different timing. Maybe we could go in afternoons or after evening to run our personal errands. And the fourth factor could be we could follow traffic rules and signal rules more strictly. So I think these ways can be introduced in our daily lives to reduce the traffic in the country.
Thank you, Priyal. That was the end of your speaking exam. Now we are going to assess this test taker based on the speaking band descriptors: fluency and coherence, lexical resource, grammatical range and accuracy, and pronunciation. Let's look at fluency and coherence. This test taker was able to use sufficient cohesive devices, and she was able to speak fluently with very occasional self-repetition, right, at certain places. And I felt that this was due to content-related vocabulary, not because it was a grammar mistake. Let us now come to the lexical resource part of it. Did the candidate use good uncommon words? Yes. She did use quite a bit of them. For example, educational hub, wide variety, mediocre, diverse, without a doubt, commute, elated, tedious, and many more. Apart from using good words, she also used a few idiomatic phrases while speaking, which really fit her answer well, and it sat well with what her answers were, like got on my nerves, head over heels, I wanted to kill time, and you wouldn't spot me in a mall, right? So these were some of the few idiomatic phrases that she used, and it was really nice to hear it blend in with her answer. It did sit well. When it came to grammatical range and accuracy, She didn't have a problem with sentence structure or construction of complex sentences. However, I felt here she was not able to build a continuity. Some places she was using a lot of fillers, like and there were some words that were quite repetitive when she was speaking. However, it was very occasional and it did not harm, the understanding of the listener. When it came to pronunciation, her pronunciation was very nice and it was good. We were able to understand what she's trying to convey to the audience. It was easy to understand when I say that it had minimal L1 interference. So, she was able to use a wide range of pronunciation features during her test. I will give this test taker a band-aid.
Okay, so now you all must have, you must have analyzed yourself right now. You know what band you are at. We have a huge number of videos on speaking tips. You have practices, different types of words, vocabulary, idioms, many ways we have in order for you to learn and improve your English and your vocabulary, specific topics related to the IELTS. Do go and watch these videos and tell us how you feel about it. Thank you.